All right. Time for some fantasy football. D Nasty is back, my man. How's it going, Dave? How was your weekend?
Good, good. Heartbreaking tie by the Packers. Ties in football just shouldn't be, man. It was just a horrible game to watch. Stayed up late to watch the game. Oh my God. And then they tie out of all outcomes. Even the players were just like, I don't want to tie. Even Dak and Love when they interviewed him, they were just like shaking their heads to the tie. They're just like, yeah, no player wants to tie in the NFL, man. And then all the crazy block kicks and block extra points again. This is just a crazy season, man. I'm telling you.
It's
It's
a crazy
crazy.
season, my man. And you know, uh, I can't explain the special teams. And, that game ended late for me about 9 o'clock Pacific time here. So, almost up to my bedtime. And I was a little bummed out, but that's okay. I'll be on mountain soon since we don't do the old daylight saving times here in AZ land. But Dave, there's a lot to talk about once you just get started with something we haven't talked about yet this year, being now we're coming into week 5.
Yeah, the NFL buys. Big week for some buys this week. After the Bears won on a blocked field goal of all things, the Bears will be on bye this week. So
Yeah,
Caleb
baby.
Williams.
Rolling without a tie into the bye.
So Caleb Williams, get him on your bench. Romeo Aduze, get him on your
Oh,
bench.
Dunze's been a stud, though, man.
He
A
has been.
stud.
He's been top 10 receiver this year, which is very shocking. I liked him as a sleeper this year, but he's very well surprised me this year. He's been better than expected. And then
Oh,
DJ
yeah.
Moore, a lot of people are a borderline starter right now. Cole Kmet, he looked pretty good this past week. DeAndre Swift. So those are the guys you're benching for the Bears. You're probably not starting a few of those guys. Caleb Williams is probably the main guy there, and probably Odunze is definitely the two main guys. Falcons have a bye. So Michael Penix, he looked good this past week. Darnell Mooney, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, he actually had a touchdown and looked good this week as well. So get those guys on your bench. Bijan Robinson, he's going to be the biggest loss this week for a lot of people that have buys, including myself, who I have in several leagues. So that's going to be a big blow to me this week for the buys. My Packers, they go into the bye 2-1-1 after the tie. Like
Could
I
be
said, it was a
worse.
brutal game to watch.
Could
But
be worse.
definitely Josh Jacobs, one of the top running backs. Jordan Love, who actually played very well. Romeo Dobbs, who we'll talk about in the waiver pickups here in a minute. And then Matthew Golden, he's probably borderline starter too, but definitely get those guys on your bench. And then the last one is going to be the Steelers. Steelers have been looking good with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is rejuvenated with the Steelers, but they look good. So get Rodgers on your bench. DK Metcalf has actually been having a pretty good year so far. Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, who we'll talk about in the waiver pickups as well. But definitely those are the main guys you're benching for the Steelers as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of benching this week. Only four teams on the bye, which is like the average, I guess. But we're getting into the thin times in football and going into injuries, my man. And we're watching Monday Night Football, and we just saw Tyreek Hill's knee freaking broke. And I love Adam Schefter. Oh, it looked like he's getting checked for dislocated knee. It's like, are you watching the game, Schefter? And then quickly Ian Rappaport says, like, he's got a lot more than a dislocated knee. Normally there's a bunch of tendons ripped off. And Ian Rappaport's a Jets fan, so he probably is watching the game. I'm not so sure that Shefty is after just such a stupid comment. But dude, he's done.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. When you're a fast receiver that relies on your legs and your legs bend like your knees like hanging there, just with skin, he's done. I mean, he'll still get paid, and it'd be stupid of him for pull a Derek Carr and retire because he's got like a million kids. But he'll make a return in 2028 because this freaking injury is going to take him into 2027 for sure. He'll miss the 2026 season. I'm almost positive because it looks like everything's torn. But how can he come back with that same speed? And that's your biggest asset. If you're in a dynasty league, Dave, I say just try to sucker trade him for a 5th round pick and be like, hey, he's out next year, but it's still Tyreek Hill. Will stash him in your IR. I would.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do have him in one league. I only have him in one league out of my 17, so definitely dodged a bullet there. But they're very gruesome injury. I go out. Prayers are out to Tyreek Hill because definitely you don't want to watch the video because I watched it a couple times and it's pretty gruesome. His whole knee and leg were turned backwards almost, and it was definitely a gruesome injury. I agree with Kiev here. He's going to be out for quite a while, probably at least 1.5 to 2 years. So definitely the rest of this year and probably next year. So definitely a very gruesome injury. If you can trade him, try to, but yeah, he's going to be out for quite a while.
Yeah, 5th rounder, 6th rounder, something like that. If you're in a dynasty, definitely not getting nothing for a normal league. Basher, sorry, bro. He's checking in with us. Lost his fantasy because Garrett Wilson's garbage touchdown at the end. Well, I got to tell you, man, I wish that they didn't get the field goal because I lost my cover on old Jets here. So that sucked for me. They lost by 5 instead of 2.
Well, I hate to say it, but I just won one of my fantasy leagues because of that Wilson touchdown. So it can go both ways. So.
Sure does, especially when you're like 20 leagues like Davis. But back to injuries. Lamar Jackson with that hammy. A lot of people are speculating that John Harbaugh is just got his back and he's just kind of wanted to keep him out because of quitting, and maybe he just felt like the game was too far. I'm kind of impartial. Those Harbaughs, they're real honest guys, aren't they? Right?
No. Yeah.
So they're to try for integrity, they're not going to practice him all week, and then all of a sudden on Saturday you're going to see at about 5:00 p.m. Lamar is going to play. It's like, dude, he's going to play. All right, he's going to freaking play. He's going to play. It wasn't that bad. And so that's my opinion on that one. I'd be shocked if they can afford another freaking loss by putting that horrible quarterback in, as backup. And it's just, he has to play, man. So
yeah, and if he doesn't play, I think he misses 1 week at the most. But I agree with Kiev. I think he plays, but if he does miss time, it's going to be probably a week. They said 1 to 2 weeks, so I don't think it's very serious as well. If he does miss any time, it's going to be maybe a week, but we'll see, like you said. But I think he plays. I definitely agree with you on that one.
Cooper Rush is going to rush them into 1-4, and this Texans defense is sick, and the defense can just win the game without Lamar. So I don't understand. I never understood Cooper Rush as a backup to Lamar. Talk about a different.
He had some good games with Dallas back in the day, but yeah, he's definitely.
Yeah, but he's not running. He doesn't run.
No.
It's the opposite of what the Ravens need. I don't freaking understand that. That was some stupidity right there. David Moore was ruled out with an elbow, wide receiver for the Panthers. Cedric Tillman and DeAndre Carter came out for the Browns, and they have to be monitored for sure. I think Tillman's definitely out. Malik Neighbors tore his ACL. Dude, we just lost Tyreek Hill and Malik Neighbors this week because Roger freaking Goodell has to have him play on turf. He doesn't. It's such a coward as a commissioner. Check this out. It's like you get a guy, you want to grow the league, so you get this guy from Puerto Rico, and maybe a little bit about Bunny. What's his name? Bunny Face?
Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny. And I'm not saying anything bad about him, but if you wanted more viewers, fix the freaking officiating in this game and fix the turf, put it back to grass so we don't lose our freaking stars in week 4.
Exactly. Yeah. Those are 2 major stars, 2 top 10 receivers for sure. So big blow to the NFL this weekend, both of those guys. And Neighbors was a nice young and upcoming receiver too. So he's definitely going to be out for a while now too, at least a year. So he'll be probably back mid-year next year. So yeah, tough blow, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. You got Ricky Pearsall coming out with a banged up knee too, and Tyreek Hill blew up his knee clearly. That's what I already said. Those are my main ones, Dave. What am I missing here?
Brock Purdy actually suffered a setback with his toe injury he's been dealing with, and Mac Jones is the backup to him that has a knee sprain. So they could be rolling out their 3rd-string quarterback this week. So keep an eye on that situation. Yeah, so that's definitely something to watch. Jaden Daniels, he was close to playing this past weekend, but he should play this week. Keep an eye on that, though. But Jaden Daniels, good news is he should probably be back this week. He was close to playing last week. Bucky Irving has an undisclosed injury. He's getting an MRI today, actually, too. So that's kind of worrisome. I got him in quite a few leagues. Taj Spear, they opened his practice window, so he should hopefully be back this week or next week. Kelvin Ridley, he's playing on limited snaps due to undisclosed injury either. They're not really saying much about his injury. The Tillman one was the other one. And then Taysom Hill, actually, they opened his window. He's a kind of a gadget guy, but he can get you some fantasy points in a hurry. And he'd be a good player for the Saints, actually. He get tight end, played quarterback, tight end. But then Noah Fant, too, concussion protocol. So those are the major ones, though. But, yeah, the 2 biggest ones are definitely Tyreek and Neighbors for sure.
Well, there you go. I covered most of them. It's just a tough blow. It's just still blowing my mind and how poor this league is run. But let's get in the waiver wire here. Wanderell Robinson, definitely for the Malik Neighbors ACL tear, and I guess I think he's the main guy, Dave, that's going to benefit. It's really tough to pick up more Giants because I don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Slane was the other guy. I had Slane on my board right now too for him and Wandell because I think a lot of people picked him up when he had that big game a couple weeks ago. So Slane is the guy that I think might still be out there too. So either one of those guys could step up. But yeah, it's a crapshoot though, like you said.
And Jalen Hyatt, is he going to show up? He was really good at Tennessee.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's too small. I think he gets his back broke too. But it's tough to figure it out. Definitely Wandale, and he's owned maybe 50% of leagues, I'm thinking, but now it's time to grab on to him. And I mean, if you want to move right into the Dolphins here, I mean, there's that Westbrook Akine. He's I'm guessing it's him. You got D. Eskridge there. Taj Washington's already hurt. You got Malik Washington's going to get more.
Malik Washington is who they have penciled in for actually to replace Tyreek on the depth chart. So that's probably, but yeah, like you said, like Kareem too. He had some good year. He had a good year with the Titans a couple years ago, so he could be a decent fill-in as well.
Yep. Hunter Renfrow is a nice speculative ad for the Panthers this week. We got Isaiah Bond for the Cleveland injuries, so he's a streamer this week. What else? Kendrick Bourne again for the Niners. Maybe him. There's some other guys there, though. So I'm not completely sold on Kendrick Bourne. He dropped a pretty easy pass last week that drove me nuts. Woody Marks. You're right, Dave, last week. I'll give you some props on this one. He's the man. Chubb had a decent amount of carries, but Mark's had the most carries and the touchdown. He's the next guy up, and he's the man now.
I know. Let me just go on the stats here because we were talking about stats last week. So this week, 17 carries for 69 yards. Chubb only had 13 carries. Moody had 4 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown, and Chubb only had 2 catches for 15 yards. So yeah, he's definitely taking that backfield over. So yeah. I hate to gloat, but yeah, I was right last week.
Well, sun shines in a dog's ass every once in a while. Running back Justice Hill went off with 5 receptions. He also had 3 carries in a touchdown, man. Justice Hill, I mean, it was garbage time, but they need to use garbage time, yeah. They still got to use him more. They were effective last year when he was in more, in my opinion. So Kendry Miller was good too, with 17 carries and a touchdown last week. I like Kendry Miller. And, it's just not looking so good right there in the Saints. I think Kendry will just get more carries. Yeah, and it's still tough to own the Saints running back. Running back Tyler Algier had 16 carries and a touchdown too. So those are my waivers. What are yours?
Yeah, those are most of the ones that Woody Marks was one of my top waiver pickup this week. I like Chris Rodriguez actually too. Him and Bill Merritt. He actually had more carries. He looked like the better and the starting running back actually for the Commanders. So I'm liking Rodriguez a little bit more. He's kind of moving up my charts a little bit here. Kendrick Miller still clearly the number 2, but he carried 11 times for 65 yards and a touchdown. So yeah, definitely like Kendrick Miller as well, like you said. And then I like Slayton actually to replace too. Like I said before, I like him. And I like Romeo Doubs. Actually, he's under-owned in a lot of leagues right now. 3 touchdowns this past week. He's definitely the go-to guy for Jordan Love right now. And then Jalen Tolbert, actually, he surprised me when I was watching the game. With CeeDee Lamb out, I definitely like Tolbert, actually. He could step up, be that number 2 there with Pickens. Pickens actually surprised me, too. He actually had a pretty good game. Jackson Dart, too. Jackson Dart had a rushing TD, and he threw for TD. And they beat the Chargers with him at quarterback. So keep an eye on him. He's definitely a guy you want to grab on the waiver wire right now if you need a bye-week quarterback here, streamer for this week. He has a decent matchup this week, but it can't be harder than the Chargers who they just beat, and he played pretty well against them. And he had no turnovers, which is key as well. So definitely a guy you want to take a look at. Tight end-wise, Dallas Goedert, a lot of people forgot about him, but he had 2 touchdowns this past week. And then
he should be owned. I think Goedert should be owned mostly.
Yeah, I don't know if people are starting him though or not either.
I didn't start him. I start Ertz over him this week. That was a mistake.
Right. So yeah. So if you need a bye week fill in, maybe, or if you had a couple of tight ends on a bye, or if you need another tight end and you have the utility spot, you can plug a guy in. Goddard actually looked pretty good this past week, so he's the tight end I would take a look at. And that's all the
You
way
know,
for
doesn't
player
look.
pickups ahead right now.
I'll tell you, doesn't look good. The Cincinnati Bengals, man.
No,
Browning
I
is
know.
horrible.
Jake Browning, I
Browning,
thought he would come in and like carry
dude,
the
but
ship,
he
but
has no he has no time. By the time he goes back, he's smashed.
their line
He's
is
freaking.
horrible.
And this is what they put Joe Burrow behind, man. This
I know.
offensive line, it is
It's
just
bad.
horrible. No wonder, you know. All right, let's move to sleepers, non-starters trending up for week 5. You have the floor.
All right, great. The Texans. I like the Texans this week. The guy that I really like, Woody Marks. I like him against the Ravens. The Ravens defense isn't stopping anybody. Their defense is just horrible right now. So I like CJ Stroud and I like Woody Marks. I definitely like both of those guys this week. I like the Dolphins against the Panthers actually. Tua's actually balled out tonight. He actually looked pretty good again, even though even though the Jets lost to them, he brought him to a win. He's looking better and better every week, actually. So even with Tyreek Hill out, I think I still like Tua, actually. I think
We
Jalen
still
Waddle
got
could be
Waddle. Yeah,
yeah,
Jalen Waddle's going to be huge now.
yeah. So Jalen Waddle, if you can trade for him, maybe you can get him for cheap. I definitely take a look because he's gonna be the number one. He's gonna be their go-to guy there now. So I definitely like him. I like the Colts this week against the Raiders. Raiders defense gives up quite a few points still as well. Danny Dimes, I like him this week. I like that matchup for him. I like Jackson Dart against the Saints this week. I like that matchup. And Cam Scatterboo, I like him too as well this week against that poor Saints D. I hate to say it, but I like the Jets this week against the Cowboys. The Cowboys are giving up tons of points. Jordan Love threw over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against that Dallas D. In the deep ball, they cannot cover the deep ball either. So I definitely like Wilson and Justin Fields this week against the Cowboys. Wilson's already a starter already, but definitely slid in a lot of my drafts. So if you're not starting him, definitely he's definitely trending up this week. I like that matchup. Lions. I like the Lions this week. I think Jameson Williams, he's been struggling the last couple of weeks. I think he's a nice sleeper this week against the Bengals. Bengals D is not very good either. Their secondary struggled the last couple of weeks as well. So, and then the running backs there, you're already starting those guys. But I think Jameson Williams is definitely the sleeper for the Lions there that I like. And then I do like Ray Davis could actually have a nice game against the Patriots too. Patriots defense is solid. They're in the middle of the pack right now, but the Bills could get out big on them, and I think Ray Davis could have some garbage time yards and a touchdown possibly.
Oh yeah, and Keon Coleman. I wrote Keon Coleman too.
Yeah, I like Keon Coleman too. Is definitely.
Yeah, he's not a starter, so there you go. Running back Woody Marks is huge, especially if Roquan Smith is out. Look, you got to look at these injuries. There's like 3 guys that went on the defense for Baltimore, and if Roquan Smith has to sit a week, I'm liking Woody Marks a lot more. Look what Buffalo ran all over this team, and so it was just it was before the Kansas City game. I forgot the other team that beat the Ravens. Oh, the Lions. They ran all over them, man. So Woody Marks could be huge in this week against a weird Baltimore team. Isaiah Bond is a streamer for the versus the Vikings, so I just kind of threw him down. CJ Stroud could do well versus the Ravens D with all those injuries too. It's hard to start CJ Stroud, but maybe you have him on your bench and your other guy is, I don't know, maybe it's like Carson Wentz because maybe you had JJ McCarthy or you had an injured quarterback that's out and you're just
or a bye week quarterback too. Maybe you have a quarterback on bye this week like Aaron Rodgers or something like that too.
Yeah, and if that's the case, there's some other quarterbacks out there that just got a starting job, just like what's his face for the Giants, Jackson Dart. Keon Coleman I mentioned, and Jameson Williams I mentioned too. So I agree with you there, Dave, for sure. Braylon Allen I put against the Cowboys, but he's kind of hurt now. I guess he can make our injured list. He limped off in the second quarter, so Braylon Allen is also hurt. And he's not exactly a starter, but he was a sleeper in some ways. So I'm going to take him.
He's playing better lately.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take him off my list though. Garrett Wilson against the Cowboys is going to be big too. That Cowboys defense is horrible, fucking horrible. Wide receiver Marcin Harrison Jr. He hasn't been a starter lately, and I think he's playing the Titans. What a juicy matchup! He almost made my nasty sleeper, but he's not nasty enough for a nasty sleeper. But I like starting Marvin Harrison Jr. this week. And Jackson Dart against the Saints. Are you kidding me? Hell yeah. That's the streamer you want this week.
That's a juicy one.
Absolutely. Chris Olave even against the Giants. So you can go the other way too. I think Chris Olave, not so sure about the quarterback there, but I think Chris Olave, being that he's at home, might finally get some points there. Wandale Robinson for sure against the Saints. David Njoku against the Lions because the Lions are bad against tight ends. Mason Taylor against the Dolphins. Oh, wait, no, sorry. He's playing the Dolphins right now. Wide receiver Jalen Waddle, just like you mentioned, Dave.
He's going to be huge.
He's a starter now for sure. Bust. Running back Derrick Henry against Denver's stingy D. Denver, they have a really good run D, and they're shutting down the Bengals right now. Running back Quinshawn Junkins against Minnesota's run D. Quinshawn got all the carries last week. He got over 21 carries, Dave.
I was shocked. They're just feeding him the ball like crazy now since he got in. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, like feed me, my friends, feed me. We have Travis Etienne against the Chiefs is a little suspect. I did love how the Jaguars beat the Niners last week, but
that was awesome.
That was awesome. Kenneth Walker against the Bucks run D is rough for Bust. Trey Flowers now, no Lamar. Even I still think Lamar's playing, but I don't know. That Texans defense is really good. I like the under in that game. DeAndre Hopkins against the Texans too, and Mark Andrews against the Texans. Now, if Lamar's playing, it's not so much, but I still think the Texans D is really good. Wide receiver Jordan Addison against the Browns is kind of suspect too. So you got to start Justin Jefferson, but the Browns are one of the best teams against receivers, as you Packer fans saw. And quarterback Sam Darnold against the Buccaneers could be bad. I'm sorry, I'm not starting Sam Darnold this week. Wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba as well against the Bucks. 2 is rough. Who are your bust, Dave?
All right. I don't like the 49ers against the Rams. I think the Rams have a solid defense, actually. So I'm definitely whoever they start at quarterback. I don't like whoever they start at quarterback. I don't think it's going to be Purdy. Could be possibly Mac Jones. But if the other third string starting, definitely don't start anyone at quarterback for the 49ers. That is a bad matchup for him against a good Rams team overall. I agree with you on the Vikings. Jordan Mason is going to be tough sledding for him running against a tough Browns D. They have a pretty good run defense as well. In the past, they have as well. Jordan Addison, definitely downgrading him. JJ, you're definitely starting him, but Ravens too. I agree with you on that one too. Actually, I think Zay Flowers could struggle a little bit. The Texans defense has been playing better lately now. I think Henry still gets his, but he could struggle a little bit because in those big games, he seems to disappear. He'll have like one of those games where he goes for like 10 for like 40 yards or 50 yards. So I definitely see that happening this week against that good defense. I don't like. I agree with you too on the Eagles too against the tough Broncos D. I think Barkley could struggle a little bit this week. He's still going to be a starter, but like I said, Henry, like with Henry, he could struggle not have as good of a game this week against the Eagles. AJ Brown, what happened to him last week? He sent out tweets then too after he's only got like one catch. I think it was like 5 or 7 yards. So he could be a little suspect this week too. I'm downgrading him a little bit too because he struggled the last week for sure. So. And the Broncos have some good cornerbacks there too, so definitely downgrading him. I don't like the Bengals against the Lions. They're not looking good tonight against Denver, so I don't think the Lions have as good of a defense as Denver. But I think the Bengals could struggle against the Lions, though they have a good enough D that they could give the Bengals fits. So definitely not starting Jake Browning or Chase Brown, any of those guys for the Bengals for sure. I don't like the Patriots against the Bills. Drake May, I'm probably downgrading him as well. And I agree with you with the Jaguars, too. I think the Jaguars could struggle a little bit against the Chiefs. I think ATN and I think even Trevor Lawrence could struggle a little bit against that tough Chiefs D.
Yeah, I hope the the Bills get a few of their defense back. You know, they let some yards up to the Saints, and maybe it was just kind of a relaxed spot. But, you know, they had guys like Ed Oliver and Matt Milano. I'd like to see them. Yeah. I'd like to see them back. We'll see. We got a question from Jeremy Brown. I get Bijan Robinson and DeAndre Smith for Jamar Chase and Breece Hall. Absolutely, if you can afford losing a running back. You know, I mean, Breece Hall could lose. Yeah, it's the Jets. They're going to be in such turmoil later this season. They're 0-4 now. I mean, I almost think does Breece Hall even, you know, are they going to pound him to the ground? You know, is he going to be one of those guys that might have a little injury and not play for 2 weeks? You know, yeah. I mean, especially if you have 2.5 to 3 really, you know, startable running backs. I'd say 3 startable running backs. Now, if you and a backup, make sure you handcuff it. But if you're going to do that, handcuff the current guys you have. But heck yeah, man. But you also have but you get a running back too in Bijan. Yeah, dude, that's a no-brainer, Dave, right?
Yeah, Bijan's the number one back overall, and he's the best reception back right now too. He's the best receiving back right now in the league, and if it's a PPR league, Bijan is huge. So yeah, I'm definitely doing that trade all day. Hall is nowhere even close to Bijan anymore. Hall is probably like a 20 ranked running back right
Dude,
now.
Jamar
So
Chase is not worth anything because he has no
with
quarterback.
Browning, yeah,
You know,
Browning's killing him.
And I have Jamar Chase, man. It sucks in the league, and he's been terrible now. It's like, yeah, you're going to get more, probably total yards with Devon Smith. Feigning that's more of a toss up, and you just get Bijan over. Dude, absolutely take that trade, man, and do it immediately for the dude.
Because Bijan's always going to get you yards because like he's going to get receptions and he's going to get carries. So you have guaranteed yards and points with him. With Chase, it all depends on Browning.
And he's already got Genty and ETN, so absolutely, man. Yeah, this is a no-brainer trade for you, my man. It's not like you're. For a second there, I wasn't thinking Bijan was a running back. Yeah, dude, this is a. I mean, that guy should be crucified for making that trade. Just
well, Chase is still a top receiver, but
I mean, if I was commissioner and I saw that trade, I'd freaking block it because I was like, "Who's the idiot doing this?" I would think that you're in cahoots and you're going to split the pot at the end or something, man. Jesus Christ, take that trade. So that moves us to the nasty sleeper, Dave. I'll go first here because I don't think you have this one. Juwan Johnson, tight end for the Saints against that awful Giants team. The Giants give up a lot of points to a lot of different teams. Juwan Johnson's really the only consistent guy. And I did like Chris Olave a little bit, but the Giants are in a letdown spot because they just beat the Chargers. They lost Malik Neighbors. I think could be the Saints' first win. I mean, the spread's almost at pick 'em right now. So there you go.
I like that. I like Olave too. I think that would have been even a pretty nice nasty sleeper. But I'm going with my boy Woody Marks. I like him. I like the matchup this week.
There you go.
He's taking over that backfield, I think, now. Get him while you can. On the waivers, this is probably going to be the last week you can grab him. So my nasty sleeper is Woody Marks. I'm going with him this week.
Any last thoughts before you're done patting yourself on the back for Woody Marks, Dave?
No, but hey, make sure you get all those players out for the buys and go get some winners this week.
Yes, absolutely. Get those players out. Get the new players in. Check the waiver wire. It's going to be a massive waiver wire with all those big injuries in the bye weeks this week. Might be worth finally putting some bucks up that you've been saving up for the last 4 weeks here to pick up those players. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you have questions for us, feel free to tweet us at the Oddsbreakers. Email us at info@theoddsbreakers.com. Have a great rest of your week and go get some winners.